have Gaelle here today, and Gaelle came, and I love when that happens because it's a green school parent, in this case, Federica, thank you so much, that knows someone amazing that it's going to be here in Bali and connects and say, hey, Carol, this person is going to be here in Bali. It would be amazing if she can come and talk to our community. And here she is, you know, we could work around her schedule. And she's here to talk to us. And we're very curious about it because, I mean, I might be a high sensitive person myself. So thank you so much, Gaelle, to be here and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all to be here. This is really a topic that is very, very dear to me. So I'm extremely excited to share with you what I can about that. I will try to do a quick presentation, quick as much as I can, to leave more space for questions and answers that we can then also answer many others, like content in the question and answer than in a presentation, not to be only the one speaking. So yeah, I would love before starting to know if anybody would like to share before starting, what does being highly sensitive mean to you? If anybody would say a word or a sentence. I love that.
So I guess is one of the characteristics which is very important in a sensitive person is that she or he can feel the energy in the space or in other people, and it's very hard sometimes to deal with it because you either don't know if it's you're feeling this or it's your judgment as you are a sensitive person, so you can observe, pursue, and get the idea even when people are not talking, but just sometimes it's only the vibe, not even, you know, something that the person did or the movement or the body talk, or it's just this. And it's very hard to deal with it because to identify if it's something that comes from you and it means you because you see other people like you are, or if it's a judgment, which is also you projecting, or it's your sensitivity telling you something, or it's your intuition, which is in another aspect of your body. It's not in your physical body, but it's beyond, right? Yeah, so I guess this.
Anyone else? Okay, look. You want? Okay, no, you need, because otherwise people online don't hear. I'll just pass for the. Okay.
Hello, thank you for coming. To me, I am a sensitive person and my daughter is a sensitive person. And to me, it's the amount of energy you have to be conscious and patient all the time, because sometimes minor changes, like she said, the energy that's around, or maybe the air, the light, or can trigger, you know, big reactions or responses, and we are not always prepared. We don't always allow the time to respond to a sensitive person reaction because we want to continue with what we have planned. So for me, it was very difficult to slow down and said, okay, it doesn't matter what we had planned for the day. Yeah, here's my time for you. Okay, so I'm to reinforce that everything is going to be okay, that it's okay, that, you know, the things that for me was difficult to slow down. Yeah.
I don't think I need the mic. You guys hear me?
People online do not hear.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm not sure if everyone else can relate to this, but it really strikes me coming out of the pandemic experience, which is a extremely heightened sense of awareness of my own sensitivity to social anxiety. And I think I had very sophisticated tools to hide it before the pandemic. And then we all spent like a year at home by ourselves. And now when I come back out to be with more people, I'm amazed at how sensitive I am and freaked out I am. And yeah, so it's kind of a new thing. And yet it seems really sensitive. So.
Thank you.
I believe it to be when you're in a condition and you walk into a room, into a different environment, you really pick up on the energy around you, that you have the ability to really not just read the room, but feel the room. And having that ability allows you to be able to drop into yourself and navigate it depending on how it's making you feel.
Anyone else?
I suppose there's a couple of meanings, right? So there's the sensitivity to be sensitive to energy, as Heidi was saying. When I first read it, I thought it meant, that you get upset at things quickly and cry a lot, and so I suppose that could be a definition of for some people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
My best friend she also joined a workshop like this. And as a spiritual teacher, I told her high sensitivity means it's a way of how a seer is aware. So for me, it's nothing bad. You just need to learn how to handle it. It's really nothing bad. When I was a teenager, I passed by people. I could feel their pain everywhere, but today it's fine. And I even handled the time after coming out because I know how to, yes, I work with light rays. So I use a lot of gold to balance my nervous system and to stabilize my aura. And that really helps.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to talk about all of this. I'm very happy. There is as much as highly sensitive people than kinds of highly sensitive people. So today, what I will talk about, you could recognize yourself from some characteristic and absolutely not in others. And we are all totally different in highly sensitivity. But it's nice because it's what you're saying. The highly sensitivity, it's not a problem per se at all. It's how we manage it, how the world we're in trigger us in that. And we'll talk about all of it during this talk. So yeah, I think that Carol introduced me already. I am still a holistic teacher. And then I got specialized and expert in positive education, conscious parenting. And this topic of highly sensitive people is one of my main, these last years. It's really something important for me. And you have my biography anyways online. So why talking about this? I am myself a highly sensitive person, and till I discovered it 5 years ago only, I have been tagged and labeled and so much like as depressive, bipolar, but not really diagnosis, but like doctors would tell me, you're probably bipolar, you're probably depressive, and said, okay. And then I read a book, and it was a life-changing, really completely life-changing, because I discovered, I read a book overnight. I read the book and I said, okay, this is me. Like, how is it possible that I didn't hear about this? So I'm not silly. And this is one of the things. Many highly sensitive people think they are abnormal, think they are silly, not adapted, or I don't know. There is something about us feeling abnormal. So I think becoming aware is is the life change, because then everything can happen. The problem is many times we live with something we have no idea what it is, right? We just adapt very well. It is still a topic that is not very known. Not a lot of books, not a lot of research. The main is Dr. Aaron. You can contact me then, and I will give you biography if you want. So it's still very unknown. People don't really know what is it about. So that's why the more we can spread, the more it's important for people to understand themselves or others around them, to communicate. If we are a highly sensitive person and we want to really communicate in a proper way with non-highly sensitive people, we have to know each other's. We have to know because there is really very different characteristic. I will try to be as much as I can far from stigmatization and labelization today. I will try. It's always very easy to go in a judgment, right? So I will try to stay neutral, and I apologize in advance if I'm not always. There is this seeking inclusion that is very, very important, because like there is non-hypersensitive people and highly sensitive people they are against each other's. I don't think it's like this. It's just we have to find a way to cooperate. There is not those that are better than others, but it's important to say. And as I said, so very many different kind of highly sensitive people. So again, that's why I don't like label, because highly sensitive people could mean something to you and something very different for you. But you could be both highly sensitive. And yeah, the example that I always make is, it's like we are born and we have like the book of instruction, as if we're all the same, all left brain wired people, because this is the majority on earth. People that, we will see this in a minute, that work with their left brain. But if we are born and we have the left brain pamphlet and we try to follow it, it's a very big problem because we use our right brain. So it's like if you have a dishwasher and you use the instruction use of the washing machine, it cannot work. So that's why it's very, very important to know ourselves, to know how we work, to put our limits, to find out what are our needs, and so on. So we'll see all the characteristics now. So of course, if I would have to say one word, and this is for everybody, it's intense. Highly sensitive people are intense, extremely intense in everything, right? Yeah, and this intensity of feelings, of emotion, of sense of overwhelming. Everything is more than others. Everything is more. It's higher. It's big. This intensity is very important. And yeah, highly alive. I like this also. This way of talking, because there is a lot of life in highly sensitive people, and this is beautiful. So yeah, so we think on average that there is 85% of the population that is left brain wired, and 15% that is right brain wired. And in this case, and so we call them neurotypical and neuroatypical. Why is it the right one that unatypical? I don't know. Maybe because the majority decided that it was typical. It's a judgment, for example, in the wording, right? There is something saying that is being right brain is neuro unatypical. I did a mistake, right? Yeah, I did a mistake. So, no, neuroatypical and neurotypical. Yeah. There's a mistake, but you got it, right? So sorry for the mistake. And so, so it's like if from even the name, we are unatypical. We are not like kind of abnormal. So we can try just to let this aside and no, just different. when we are left brain wired is the main world we live in. So you know a bit how it works, but we will compare them later on. And today we will focus on the right brain, that are the highly sensitive people. So yeah, the right brain is a hyper efficient brain. Hyper efficient in all ways. Lots of thoughts, lots of emotion, lots of feelings, lots of everything. So that's why we say that mainly all highly sensitive people are high potential people, because their process, we'll see this in the next slide, their way of processing things is extremely fast, is branching. It's a way that allow them to, I don't know if you experience that you are able to listen to a conference and read a book at the same time. Many highly sensitive people can do that. Listen to conversation at the time. It's really incredible how there is that is impossible for a left brain to do that. And it's okay, they have other things and we have. So for the same reason of this branching processing of our brain, we can tend to be ADD people, more or less, because we can lose the focus. As we have many, many, many thoughts, we can lose the focus easily. So let's see a bit. Yeah, there is this Christelle Petit-Colin. She wrote a lot and she did a lot of research about highly sensitive people. And she says that the left brain people, it's a bit like if they have this rope with the knots, you know, and they go from one thought to another, and it's linear and it's one. And when they finish one thought, they go to another and they finish it and they go to a third one, and it's okay. And it's very quiet in their mind and very clear. For we call sometimes in France, we call highly sensitive people zebras. So for highly sensitive people, it's a branching way of thinking. So literally, you have an idea, and from there, 10 ideas can pop up. And from this 10, and it's really simultaneous. It's not one after another. It's really, and you have to be, that's why we talk about high potential people, because it's so fast, right? So we can get lost, but we can also be very, very fast and very, how would you say, like débrouillard? You know, like when you are very easy and resourceful, like you always find a solution. You always find a solution in anything. So here there is the thing of how a normal person tells a story, for example. So, okay, there is a start. Of course, it's humoristic, but it's very close to what it is. So a left brain wired person would start a story and end the story. and no thoughts in between, just focus on the story and will be very clear in the story. And highly sensitive people, so they will start a story, and so then all the thoughts will appear, like, okay, too many details, semi-related side story, oh, I'm sorry, I have to go back, oh, I lost my, what were they saying? This is really very funny because it's what's it's an idea of how we say story. So this is just to start. So yeah, hyperesthesia and electric brain processing. So our senses first. Of course, it can start from this. The 5 senses will be extremely sensitive. So about the sounds, you see, for example, these sounds could make me become violent. So it could be because of the loud sounds, for example, but it could be a very a far sound that bother you, like, I don't know, an AC sound as something in the background. So really, it's about all the different ways of being sensitive to sounds. Others would be listening to music extremely loud, because for them, being highly sensitive people is being like really immersion of the vibration of the music. So this is why it's interesting to be highly sensitive people, because it could be needs of silence for some, or others really need to be in connection with the vibration of the sound. About the sights, of course, allows are sensitive to the light or lack of light. Many people are very sensitive to the darkness, could be very affected by darkness. Also, I don't know, something that happens a lot to highly sensitive people, they wouldn't tolerate if the windshield or the glasses have a little bit of something, like the sight has to be perfect, like yeah, I clean my glasses all the time, or the windshield. When I am in a taxi driver and the windshield is so dirty, I said, I cannot stay here. I need it to be very clear, for example. About the smell, of course, many of you, and if you have kids that are highly sensitive people, it could be a real problem. So we look for solution to be protected. So breathing with the mouth, having always scarves. The smell is a big problem. Taste, the same. Very big problem. I mean problem because when you don't know how to find a solution for that. The taste as the smell, and anything about the touching. So textures, clothing, like the how many times, like the wool or the etiquette, the tags. But also temperatures. There are kids, I follow a little kid, cannot concentrate. He has an AC and 18 degrees in the room he is. Like at school, he's failing if he doesn't have this cold temperature that for him works, right? So temperature could be something very much affecting in the heat or in the cold, humidity, dryness, anything that's... Also, there is this thing that we call eidetic brain or processing or photo memory. It's the way that highly sensitive people can have the awareness of all the details of everything all the time. Like we are like scanners. We enter places and we can say after 2 years, what was the smell, how she was dressed, what was on the wall, if the sofa was cozy or not, this kind of things. And also the quality of the refinement of the sight. When have you seen a kid that is highly sensitive, like he could look at an insect and tell you that there is this like, I don't know, texture on his wings that is exactly like that, and it seems like velour, or, and you say, wow, some other would never see all these details. So now for all the big characteristic of highly sensitive people, other than the senses, there would be this overly empathetic, overly empathetic people. I think right? It's about anything. You could be moved, emotional about anything. About a cupcake is the last one on the shelf, and it might be so lonely now, and start crying because the cupcake is the last one, and he doesn't have his friend anymore, or because of nature, animals, about any kind actions that you see in movies or in the street, you are extremely touched and by anything. Yeah. So this is the empathy that we know. The importance of values. My God, importance of values for highly sensitive people is something very, very, very strong. And if you try to go out of a value for highly sensitive people, it could be a really internal conflict. It's something almost impossible. And with that, injustice is unbearable for highly sensitive people. Really, the sense of justice is very, very, very important. The need of meaning. Highly sensitive people always ask why. Why are you doing this? Why do you think about this? Why? And kids do it a lot, right? And they really need to understand anything. they cannot leave something just being like this. And it goes with the fact that they need to be always enriched, filled with any learning. Yeah, they need to learn all the time, to learn more, to do courses, to be better. And there is this sense of being perfect also. They want to be perfect. So this could be because of the fact that they try to adapt all the time in this left wire brain world. And so being perfectionist is a way of repairing, because they feel they're not worth, like in the eyes of others. Need for efficiency and the speed of pace in doing things. Highly sensitive people, because of this branching brain, are extremely fast. They understand very quickly. So they get bored all the time. Very often, if they are in a regular meeting, they get bored. It's not quick enough. It's not like, can we go to the point? Like, can we finish this meeting? Because I have a lot to do. I have to learn. I have to. So this is a point. Many times, highly sensitive people get bored because the pace is not as fast as their needs. They are very creative, artistic, very much. They are absolutely passionate. So they talk with their eyes like this, and they cannot understand people that will just say, oh yeah, it's nice. No, it's not nice. It's beautiful. It's amazing. they have these things of being intense again, right? And so then there is, of course, the emotional part. Everything is much more intense with their emotions. So sadness is something devastating as much as the enthusiasm or the joy or is overwhelming. But in both, there are really very, very big spectrum. Every time they feel an emotion is something like almost too much to be able to sustain. Sorry? To handle, exactly. And the intuition, we were talking before of intuition, of course, they are very, very connected in general. There is this sixth sense, a very strong intuition, a very, as all the senses are open wide and there is no shields, they feel everything. And sometimes we don't know what to do with that if we don't learn, right? Because it could be also overwhelming. As we live in a world that is left-brain wired, we almost spend all our time adapting, trying to be like them, till the moment we know and we decide not to. But in general, this is what happened. And it means that every day it takes a lot of energy for everybody to adapt, to over-adapt. So at night, in general, highly sensitive people is really so exhausted. That's why highly sensitive people have to find either a way of living that really correspond to their needs, or resources, either or, like both. So a lot of me time needed for highly sensitive people, because the energy of other people, the crowd, the noise, all what we've seen before is affecting them. So they need a me time that is very, very, very important and strong in general. They need a recovery time, really literally recovery, like sleep or anything, silence, nature time, any practices that from yoga to Tai Chi to everybody, pranayama, anything that will fit for according to our needs. So yeah, this is, so as I was saying, highly sensitivity is absolutely not a problem. It's the world we live in that is give us a feeling of not belonging, of being different, of being abnormal. And there is also this lack of recognition. How many times people have been to doctors, or because they don't know what they have. They feel bad, they feel exhausted, they feel depressed, they feel overwhelmed, and the doctor said, I don't know, you don't have anything. According to them, there's nothing wrong. And it's like our feeling is not embraced, is not welcome, is not seen, and this is very difficult. That's why we try more to adapt. Okay, I want to be loved. I don't want to lose the connection, so I will adapt again. And so, yeah, as I was saying, that's why HSP are often tagged as depressive or bipolar, because this is what could be looking like from a... Even, yeah, of course. So, yeah, so some HSP don't feel they are. This is very important. You could feel you don't feel HSP because you have been trying to adapt so much for so long time, so you feel you're fine. And this is what this person was saying before. It was after the lockdown that it was difficult to go back to the world. Why? Because the lockdown offered him this possibility to connect with his highly sensitivity, being far from this world. But then when he has to come back in this world, it could be very difficult and challenging, right? So again, it's not better to be this or that, but it's very important to know who you are, to know how you work, and to decide what you want to do with it. I think that's almost it. Yeah, so this is what we can end with. Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid. So I think it says it all, right? For a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. But I want to say something. Christelle Petit-Colin, writing her, and then we will go for questions. Writing her last book, went into she's a highly sensitive person, and for her last book, she really needed to understand much more the non-sensitive people. So she's being into this research far and far and far, to the extent that she realized that at a point she could shift her brain processing from a right to left. And she didn't do this on purpose. She found it out. And she didn't say it to anybody. She wrote the book and people started to read the book. And she has so far more than 10 feedback about that. People saying, but you know what? Since I read your book, I feel I can switch being highly sensitive people and not. So I don't know. We're here. And it's very interesting that eventually, because it's genetic. Yeah, I forgot to say that this is very important, that it's genetic from what research says. So it is genetic to be a highly sensitive person, but epigenetics believe in the fact that thoughts could change the genetic. So in this case, maybe there is a way to change and use our brains according to our need. That would be amazing, right? We're in a meeting with the left brain, tack, go. And then we go back. So, yeah, I think this is it. Yeah, for me, yeah. I will be open to any question now. Thank you.
Thank you, Gaelle. Lily, that it's online. We have a few people online, and I really related to that. She said, I have a highly sensitive child which reacts a bit too quickly for things that changes quickly. She reacts easily for things that make her happy, sad, or angry. It's not a question from her, but taking her statement, that also relates to probably a lot of the childs that we all have, like, how do we support, like how as a parent, knowing that we have a high sensitive child, how can we give them like a safe environment that they feel heard and not stressed? How can we make their life a little bit easier?
Yeah. I think that really the very first thing is to understand what is the root of their needs and how they work. Again, maybe we can have an interpretation of what they're feeling now without understanding exactly what is their need. The more we read or watch, or the more we know about how it works, the more we can help them. The example of this woman, for example, highly sensitive kids, change is extremely difficult for them. So if we know in advance that change is very difficult, we have to prepare them a lot in advance. We have to decide how I want to organize my family life according to the needs of my kids. I know it's very difficult because maybe you have 3 kids and 2 are sensitive, 2 are not. And what will you do? But the more you know their needs, the more it's easy. So first of all, welcoming the need, like the feeling, it's a huge step. Because how many times, I always take this example that I was a kid and I would say to anybody, my mom or my teacher, my pullover is itching me. And they would touch the pullover and say, no, it doesn't. Okay, my feeling is shut down. I am not connected anymore, but because as a kid, the adult is always right. So no, my pullover is not itchy. So I have a problem with my skin. This is an example to say that the first thing is really to welcome with this listening and embracing everything they will tell us. Really, that just to stop and, okay, yeah, I see, you really feel that now it's too fast for you, right? And the first thing could be to ask him or her. We undervaluate how they are full of resource. Like if you would have a magic stick now, what would you do? What would be your solution to solve this? And slowly, by knowing more about how they work, embracing and welcoming their feelings and their need, asking them for solution, slowly it will be easy. But the main difficulty for adults that are not eventually, and that for them, this life, for example, I don't know, they would travel and change country every 6 months, and for them it's fine. But they have a kid highly sensitive, and for him or her would be so difficult. So at a point, the parents have to adapt how he will decide to live his his life, finding the balance.
How would you diagnose somebody as highly sensitive without them, I suppose, you can put all the stuff up and then you can self-select with your own biases whether you want to be or not. But if you had, say, 3 or 4 kids and you thought one was highly sensitive and the others weren't, what would you, is there an online test? Or is it observation? How do you find out?
Yeah, you have online tests by Dr. Aaron. You can auto-test, from your kids. It depends on the age. You can do it according to what you know. And you have specialists that really, you can have a session, an online session or one session just to diagnose how, which kind also of highly sensitive he is or she is. And, but in the end, I want to say if you have 4 kids and you probably have at least one that is highly sensitive, it doesn't matter how much they are or not. If you get comfortable with this world, what I mean is you can have a kid that is not, but will have one of these characteristics that is very strong, right? So maybe the main work will be also to do your own research to help them to find their coping or adapting, not adapting in the bad, in the wrong way, but helping, accompanying them. But of course, you can have a test or a diagnosis by a specialist.
So I'm Luana, and I'm actually diagnosed with ADD and depression. And I was wondering, for me personally, those labels really helped me because I felt like, okay, there's nothing wrong with me. It's okay it's okay to be that way. I'm not like an alien or something. And I found understanding in those labels. But would you say that those labels are like wrong, or it's just society? Because my mom is someone that says, yes, you're highly sensitive, but it's mostly that all those diagnoses are wrong and that it's just that you allowed to be that way. And it's something that I've struggled with a lot. And I do realize that I'm highly sensitive, but personally, those labels helped me a lot because I felt like, okay, I'm not the only one. Other people have it, and it's okay to be like that. So what do you think about the psychological diagnosis and stuff?
I feel you a lot because there is a part of putting a name on things that is extremely helpful. Because again, like I was thinking all my life that I was abnormal, silly. And when, for example, they tell me you're highly sensitive people, okay, now I feel I belong to a system of, and this helps me to understand me, and it's the good part of it. When I was saying about the labeling and stigmatization, it's just to be careful not to close myself in this box and being, I like the idea to be limitless. Like, if it depends on how do you live this label, if it helps you or if it limits you. When they tagged me before as a depressive person, I was just there and saying, okay, I will be depressive all my life. And I didn't do much to change. Mm-hmm. ADD is different. Highly sensitive people also, it's a bit different because it gives you keys. But in any labels, I think what is very, very important, it's to say, okay, I recognize myself here, but I'm not only this. Yes. And I can go, there's an infinity of even epigenetics really shows us that we can change, that we can become something else.
Mm-hmm. No, especially because of the adapting. When I got my diagnosis, and I also spoke with other people that have similar diagnosis, I often thought like, am I just faking? Or am I just like, am I doing this for attention? Or am I like a bad person or something? But I don't know. Yeah,
this is where recognition is very important, and the label is very important. Okay, I have been recognizing what I am, and now people, but you know, it's a bit like if somebody that has a leg problem and walks with a stick, the stick will show other people that we have to pay attention. You know, we have to adapt to again, like if you're ADD, you cannot follow eventually a movie seated 4 hours on a seat. This is a fact, you know, and we have, so it's very soothing eventually to have this kind of recognition. Yeah, I feel you.
No, many people told me that through the labels, you limit yourself and you put yourself in a box. But for me, it was actually freeing, because then I stopped thinking like, what is wrong with me? What am I doing wrong and stuff? So for me, it helped really.
So you have your answer.
I just wish people would understand and not like say, no, it's wrong, this and that.
Okay.
Hey, I see a little bit this label thing, like it's another kind of adapt for the other side of the brain. Like it's something that brings you to something that exists and has explanation and is rational, you know, like take you out of the creativity and everything and give some explanation for something that is much sensitive, you know, like. And there's another thing, yeah, when you have a label like that and how you use that is we need to be part of. And when you know there is more people that have the same label, you start to be part of something. So you are not like,
you connect, you belonging.
Yeah, yeah. And just like.
Yeah, that's why I said, for me, it's this and this. It's very important at a point to recognize what we had as something that is real, is there. But keep the box very open. Like, this is what I feel, absolutely, not to stay in this thing. Okay, I am this and I'm nothing else. No, I can be. But tomorrow, like today is something, tomorrow can be something else. If today it helps you in this process, you are here. And then eventually, slowly, when you be totally okay with who you are, maybe you will just want to open all the boxes.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about like, that's okay to be myself, whatever it is. Like, I
Exactly.
don't need to be like others or like the world say I have to be. It's just like, I have to be myself and doesn't matter, you know?
Yeah.
You talked about empathy or being empathetic with all that is, no? And the being, the surroundings, the people that you don't know, you feel bad about homeless and you, one point is you connect with this, which in my opinion, that's my case, it's bad because you connect with misery, you connect in a certain level that you can put yourself there. And then maybe sometime you cannot help anymore because then you're going lower and then you lose your strength, let's say, or energy or whatever you name it, right? The other point is like lack of empathy also because, for example, you get bothered, you get triggered by noise, by someone that do things noisily, move stuff and say, what the fuck, this person doesn't realize there are other people around trying to concentrate. And for an ADD person like me, everything can take me out and I'm never back on that idea. And we get very aggressive because it's like, it's taking me a long way to get here. And you don't realize that you're just, you know, like ruining all my activity or whatever it is, no, that it's going on. So this takes you to the opposite, because you have lack of empathy with other people around, and they have the right even to don't have principles, don't have manners, don't bother, and don't give attention what is around and, you know, making life better for everyone. There are this certain type of people, and maybe they didn't have education or manners or somebody for them. And so it's just like this dichotomy of having empathy and not having empathy at all. And on both aspects, you feel guilty.
Yeah, our main problem is that 98% of highly sensitive people had a childhood and a life adapting. At a point, we need to empower who we are and decide. Meaning, I am like you, I could be bothered so much by something that I would call judgmentally like a lack of value, or doesn't he see that he's doing all this noise and I'm here, and for example, but I am responsible for my actions. I can decide where I live, who I see, where I go. And I have the thing of trying to adapt, trying, it's very difficult, not to being a victim of this society, but being responsible for who I am, what I want. But it's very difficult because we have been used for all these years, I don't know, to be in crowds and go partying, and this is a social thing and it's normal and this is the way we know forever. Why would have stopped from today? Because in the end, a party is really taking me a lot of energy, you know? So I think at a point you really can find your own solution about what's really good for you. And it's a lot of work because 85% of the rest of the world will go on partying and being so energetic afterwards and sleeping 2 hours. And the morning after, it would take the 5 kids in the car and they can shout and no problem. You give me this life, I can kill someone. You know? So I think the main thing of this empathy is seeing it, trying to accept it, and to step into this power. Okay, I am like this and I cannot stand noise. Then, of course, for a few things, I don't know, you need to take planes. So either you're a billionaire and you have your jet, or otherwise you have to share the space with people. In this case, you take your resources, you know, you before you going, you said, okay, I will be in the middle of a crowd. There will be noise. There will be people non-educated. I mean, you know, what will I do with that? But does it make sense for you? Yeah, what I share. Yeah,
it's a very hard work, and it's a daily work, and it's I mean, she probably identifies herself. Hello. So yeah, so it's a day by day work. It's like you have to not control, because I'm not happy with this word, because if we could control anything, so we wouldn't be here actually talking. So
exactly.
So it's not about control. It's about, of course, being aware and then trying to adapt. But I've been all my life trying to adapt. And then I decide not to adapt anymore. And then I decide to adapt again. And then I want to see my condition. And then, okay, it's an endless topic.
Yeah.
I do have another question going back to kids that are highly sensitive. You said that, maybe if you have 2 or 3 kids, one of them are going to be highly sensitive. I mean, for us as adults, it might be easier for us to have, the mindfulness to be able to see that child and to be able to, give them what they need. But how would you suggest to manage siblings relation when you have one of the child that it's really high sensitive and the other no, and how can the sibling relation become not a stress? Because it's not so easy for a child to understand that as the same as it's for us.
It's highly sensitive people. They are very smart and sensitive, and they can feel the how to manipulate, let's say, maybe a strong word, but the parents, right? So in order to get what they want, or in order to, to feel important, to whatever, everything we talked about. So adding on her question, how it's a very small limit between seeing their needs and trying to help with this and dealing with the siblings, and also not spoiling this kid or giving the power way too much to this kind of.
Yeah. I think it's extremely important, if you have at least one of the people in a family that is highly sensitive, to have this education in the whole family, seeing and working on the differences about everybody, because it's very hard for a non-sensitive kid to understand a highly sensitive kid, and vice versa. But as everybody is very smart in general, you can really talk more and more and more about that. And the more we are all aware of how you function, how I function. Okay, today is Sunday and we need to do something, but I have one here that needs silence and the other one that needs to go to party. What will we do? And it seems very basic or simple, but really the more everybody knows how the others function, the more easy it is, because you can really ask everybody, like you become in a conscious parenting process where we ask every time who needs what and how can we do, what are the solution. And of course you can be also followed by somebody that will help you in the beginning about a specialist of highly sensitive kids, I don't know if this answers.
No, it does answer, yeah. Now we have Sandri, I know you have another question.
It's not another question, but it's something to add to that. For me, what it helped at home was to be able to provide my 2 kids their own space. Because my highly sensitive daughter she needs to have her room in a certain way.
Yeah, a highly sensitive way.
So providing her own space, her own room, because before we share room, and providing her own room was fantastic.
Yeah.
because she could say, okay, I control the temperature here, the light, the colors, the
Yes.
sound. So she
The
feel
me
like,
time.
yeah.
The
So,
me time.
and at any time that she feel overwhelmed for whatever, she could go to her room and it will be her
Yeah.
quiet space.
Yes.
So-
Yes. This is one of the tricks. Yeah. Very important.
Yeah, and it's so easy for also. I've seen so many labels of especially for women, if she's highly sensitive, it be confused with dramatic. You know,
Thank you
which
for
is
this,
also
Carol.
very kind of hard. Or you are about to get your period, which is worse.
Thank you, Carol, for this, because this is, I live in Middle East, I live in Egypt, and this is, oh, she's doing drama. He's doing a drama. It's drama queen. No, I'm sorry. It's just feeling something very intense. Yeah.
I would like to know how you handle your highly sensitivity. Maybe a sample for Luana, because I teach completely different on a level of oneness. You don't label anymore. You only see, you look at the aura, you look at the chakras, you look at the eyes, and you see there isn't any problem. It's just like they need to learn to handle their sensitivity. And I understand when you work on other levels, you name it different. So maybe how your sample maybe helps Luana.
I think absolutely there are very many different things, and I do all of them. But all of us have to follow the one that talks, right? And as I always say, today I say many things. What talks to you, take it back home. What doesn't, put it in the bin. It's okay. I'm not, I'm anybody, you know? And so that's why it depends of everybody. Wow, talks to me now. For me, it's my main work really personally. It's because I feel exhausted as an highly sensitive person in this world. So personally, my work is doing things on other levels, of course, but also, trying to be more and more and more connected, being able to recognize my need, because the over adaptation, I'm sorry, I'm talking about this because for me, it's one of the main, thing today. The over adaptation is what causes problem. We have been unaligned from our needs. So what I invite any people to do, this is what I feel that, helped me a lot, is always go back. I am really answering to my real need now. Do I feel it in my body? Do I feel I'm totally okay? Or I am answering a need of this world or of this person? Or this is my main message, because we forgot who we were, who we being over adapting. We disconnected with what is our real essence, identity, needs, etc. So this is my work.
Thank you, Gaelle. And I feel that we women, for me, I feel quite often that I'm always trying to fulfill the needs of all my family, you know. So it's a really hard one for me, specific, because I'm always taking care of everybody, and really important for me to take more care of myself. So maybe I'll send the records for the whole family. I'm so glad that we recorded. That's okay.
Yeah, I think when you understand that you are a high sensitive person and you understand others are not exactly the same as you can understand that you get responsibility for yourself, and you don't try to change others, and you don't allow others to try to change you. So then you are in your space, and if it doesn't serve to me, that's not my place, and I'm gonna go. And
Yes.
and I'm not trying like all the time, like if people are doing noise or all the things, like I'm not gonna try, because they are like small mortals, you know?
Yeah.
and just like, and actually we are all much more sensitive than we live today, you know, like our brain was shut off to not be sensitive and to
Exactly.
to believe that we are rational and not sensitive, and we are much more sensitive than rational, actually. So that's
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, everybody. And for the parents in the audience, please, when you have someone coming to Bali to visit you, that you think it's going to be awesome to have this person come and talk to me. We would love to have, other people coming like Gaelle here. Thank you, Frederica, again, for making the connection. Thank you for everybody being here. For the people online.
Thank you.
This was recorded in maybe 2 weeks, will be already on the website. If you haven't noticed, in our Bridge website, actually all the talks that we have done since the beginning of the year, they're all recorded there. So if you miss it, you still have a chance. And I'm going to be playing this one for the family to give a little bit of start of education. Thank you, Gaelle. Thank you so much.
I just want to add that I will have a workshop out of the Green School, but to go further in this topic of highly sensitive person, it will be a workshop, an interactive 3-hour workshop in case people want to go further than the talk of today.
Yeah, we're trying to organize that here as well. So you just change your ticket. So we're going to talk about that soon. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. See you.
Thank you.